What's up? J Street Moto here. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, welcome to the channel. Like, subscribe, click the notification bell, share with your friends. All that stuff helps the channel. We're still growing, and that's a good thing. I'm really digging it. So here's what today, welcome to the garage, I should say. And I apologize for the disarray of the garage, but you know, we live here and I don't run a shop out of it. So, you know, judge what you want to judge. In any case, as most of you know, if you've been following previous episodes, the rear cylinder in my 2018 Road King Special stopped firing. And it resulted in me taking it to my mechanic, who diagnosed the problem and found out that the fuel injector for the rear cylinder had gone bad. I decided, when I was there, my mechanic gave me another fuel injector. He's like, here, toss this in the saddlebag. When the front one goes, you at least have the spare part and you can change it out. You're getting ready to find out why that's not something I'm really interested in doing if I'm on the side of the road in a parking lot, or heaven forbid it happens when we're on our way to Canada and we're 1,700 miles away from home. So I decided to video how to install a fuel injector in a Milwaukee 8 motor. Now in this case, first thing you're going to have to do is take the tank off the bike, because you cannot access the part you're trying to change with the tank still on the motorcycle. To do that is not as complicated as it sounds. I promise you it's not. There's 4 half-inch bolts. There's 2 at the back. There's 2 at the front, one on each side of the backbone of the bike. Then there is a 3/8 bolt that is at the back side that holds basically the dashboard on the top of the tank. And then you need a 5/32 Allen head to get the other screw out that's at the front of this. Then you can take the whole thing off. And then you can pull the gas tank off. I recommend, and I'll show it to you at some point, you'll see me grab it. I have an old padded blanket that I used to throw in the back of my car when I had dogs that shed. And that's what they'd lay on while we were riding down the road. Well, I kept that, even though I don't use it anymore in the car. And I lay that out on the floor, and that's where I put all my parts that I don't want to get messed up. All right, which is the hardest part of this deal. So I know if you watch Revzilla and those guys, they have a beard rating. They would probably rate this job at a 1.5 to 2 beards. I don't think they would go more than that. About 1.5 to 2 beards. I rate it based on bourbons, and I've had, this one's almost dead, so I'm not going to count this as one of the ones that I drank during this, but I think that it's going to be about a 2 bourbon job. The reason this one's already gone is I poured it when I was setting up, and so it doesn't count because I haven't technically started the work. The only thing I've done so far is pull the seat off the bike. That's it. That's the only thing that's been done. It's the only thing that you missed. Now, if you do not have an aftermarket, some kind of fancy screw that you use to hold your seat on your motorcycle, you're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver to take your seat off. That's it. Let's get into it. I'm going to record everything. I'm likely to speed some shit up from time to time, and I'm probably going to stop and talk from time to time too. But I'm going to let you see everything, I promise. I've got another camera that I'm going to use for close-up stuff when I want to point out particular details. The fuel injector itself, in case I forget to mention it later, the fuel injector itself is held onto the top of the throttle body by 2 Torque 30 screws. And they're a little bit of a bitch to get to. Not to get out. They're harder to get back in. Because, you know, if you got fat hands, you're going to have a hard time getting in there. Because you got to squeeze into it. And it might result in me having to take this off of the throttle body. Don't know yet. Haven't made a decision whether I'm going to do that or not. All I know is that I'm gonna get the job done. I'll put it that way. So yeah, stick around. Hope you're digging the content. Hope this video is helpful. Yeah, I'll see you soon. This is the first official bourbon of this job. And I'm guessing it's a 2 bourbon job. So first things first, before I start wrenching on shit, you gotta pop this off the front side of the gas tank. And I took a close-up of it with the other camera because it does matter which side it goes on. They are not interchangeable. Even though they will fit, they don't look right. So just pay attention to that. I'll be right back. There is a vent for your gas tank. You can unplug it from this hose right here. Literally right here. Do I need to video it? You have to disconnect this fuel vent. And you can either disconnect it from up here on the tank, or you can disconnect it from this hose right here. I disconnect it here because it's freaking easier. It's just simpler to get to. You also have to disconnect this film. And I tend to just do all the disconnections before I start undoing any of those. It's just me. 3/8. Goes on this one right here. Another thing I do, when I bought my very first Harley, they gave me a bell as part of my original hog membership, as well as this cool little 10 thing. I've held on to the 10 thing for a while to keep my shit organized. So there you go. Maybe you have something like that at your house. Go ahead and knock it out and use it. So that's that. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the whole crown off first, I think. Just because I've also got my headlight out here, the one I wear when I hunt and I'm tracking deer that I've shot. I also have that out here, and I'll put that on later while I'm futzing around underneath the tank at the backbone, just to give more light and let y'all see potentially what's going on in there. And this bolts in kind of at an angle like this, so make sure you get it aligned right when you're putting it back together. Now, it's possible to take the tank off without pulling this bolt and leaving this on, just taking this bolt off back here. The reason I'm pulling this bolt out is because I think I got some water in here. The bike was outside during a really, really bad rainstorm, like torrential downpours here. And I'm pretty freaking certain I got some water in there because my indicator for my left turn signal and my indicator for my high beams is no longer staying on. It lights intermittently. So I'm thinking that I've got something wonky with the connector in there, or I got some water in it. And I figured I'd pull it off now, since I have to take the tank anyway, and check this shit out. Now, once you get the tank, once you get this off, there's a little connector here you've got to undo. Once you pull it, everything's out and it's good to go onto the tank. Now I do recommend, you guys can do what you want. If I'm doing a job like this, so some of the things that are normal maintenance on this motorcycle that require you to pull the gas tank for, or require you to do some portion of what we're doing right now. First would be changing spark plugs. If you want to change the spark plugs in your motorcycle, you are going to have to pull the gas tank. You do not have an option. You cannot. Now, I've seen guys loosen the gas tank and then just kind of prop it up, and they were able to get a wrench in. Problem is, 2 of your spark plugs on the Milwaukee 8 engines are literally right underneath the gas tank. And they're deep, deep holes. You cannot access them easily. The fastest way I found to do it is just to pull the damn tank. So you're gonna have to do that when you change your spark plug. You're gonna have to do it if you change your fuel injectors. You're gonna have to pull the tank, well, for those two things for sure. That's just like normal stuff that you would need to do. You will need to take this crown off, if you will, to access this locking ring to get to your fuel pump if you need to change your fuel filter, which I have done on this motorcycle. Getting it out is pretty freaking easy. Getting it all back together is a little bit of a pain in the ass. Just giving you a heads up. But you have to take that crown off to access this ring so that you can get to its fuel pump, and everything is down inside the tank and it's all right here. So that's a couple of the reasons you need to pull the crown off. It's for sure a couple of reasons you need to pull the tank off. And, you know, usually when I have the tank off for something like this, I'm going to go ahead and take the time to clean the top of the cylinders that I can't reach when I'm detailing the bike and the tank is on. Because I'm not going to pull the tank to detail the bike. But if I have to pull the tank for another reason, I don't mind detailing a little bit while the tank is full. If that makes sense. Hopefully it makes sense to you. And yeah, still the first bourbon. All right. Half-inch screws. Half-inch screws are next. And first things we need to do is remove this little thing, get it the hell out of your way so you can access this half-inch bolts easier. They are not specific to the location they come from. All of them are identical. These are 4 identical bolts. You don't have to keep track of which ones were on the back side and which ones go into the frame. They all fit in the same spots. So, you know, there you go. I was doing it to show kind of where those rubber things that need to go on a very particular way. First one from the front, and then grab the camera and get a shot of the second one, just so that you guys can see that. Try to make this as detailed as possible. Probably going to end up fast forwarding through a lot of it because this job is most likely going to take, if I wasn't recording, this is probably an hour to an hour and 10 minutes in length. There is the other bolt right there with the plastic with the little rubber grommet cover removed. It'll probably take you about an hour to an hour and a half. If you've ripped your tank off before, easily this is about an hour job. There was a follower, and I need to call him out. I'm going to actually pull my phone out and look him up. Give him proper credit on with his YouTube handle. There is a subscriber who has been watching my stuff specific to this problem because he's having a similar problem on his bike. And his name is FerroVlog5. That's FERRO space VLOG 5. He's been following this problem because he's having a similar one, and I told him I was going to do an installation video. Fuck, I'm scratching all of this because that's just bullshit. I'm replying to comments right now on YouTube because I decided to pull my phone out of my pocket, and of course, I ended up with a bunch of freaking comments. So, alright, for all those of you that think I don't respond to the comments that I get on YouTube, comment just came in 19 minutes ago from RoadGlide911 on YouTube asking about the Outrush R helmet that I did a review on. Just responded to him. So yeah, pretty responsive. Now I'm going to take a break, call my son because he told me a second ago, and now I need to know what the hell he wanted. All bolts are out. Now it's time to pull the tank, take it off. So let's try to do this without dropping it and causing any other pull to happen. Oh, forgot one thing. I remembered quickly. So I'm going to grab the other camera for this one so you can see it. You do have to disconnect the gas tank from the fuel injection system. And there is a hose that comes out of the bottom of the gas tank on the clutch side. It's the one you see, it's the only it's the only hole you see going into the gas tank. There's also another electronic connector you have to pop that has all the stuff in it for your fuel gauge and shit. So I'm going to show you where those are at and how to do them right now on, the other camera. And hopefully you can see it. You should be able to see it. So all you're going to do is pull this guy down or push him up. You're going to need to pull this, and the way you do it is you push this up as you pull that out. You can't do it with one hand. The other thing you're going to have to disconnect is this cable right here that runs back into your gas tank. All right, so I'm going to disconnect both of those. This is why it takes so long when you're recording something. Because you remember shit and you want to show it to you guys. Y'all see it, and you don't have to do what I did, which was, learn from trial and error is the best way to put it. That's what I did. Learn from trial and error. And a lot of YouTube videos, not gonna lie. Watch a bunch of guys' stuff on maintenance because that's some of the best ones out there. Probably Ryan Urlacher in terms of showing you step by step what to do. Some of Blockhead's earlier stuff is good at it too. In terms of information and stuff about the motorcycle itself, I'm really digging what Ryan Cruzy is putting out over at Cruzy Originals. Also like the guys at Thrashing, Juan and Lance. They do a pretty good job as well. So we're going to lift the gas tank straight off. See, it doesn't have any gas in it, or it's very low, so it makes it a hell of a lot easier to move it around. There we go. Now I have access to what I'm trying to get to, which is, that guy right there. Shit. I don't see it. Okay. So I think. Yeah. Should be. So let's go here. This. Sometimes you gotta take the gloves off in order to get what you're trying to get out. There's that one. Out. Let me show that too. Now we get the light for this one. We get the light for this guy. Because I want y'all to be able to see it. It's the whole freaking reason we're doing this damn job, so I want y'all to be able to see it. For show. For show. Look at that. See the links I go to for my followers, my fans, whatever the hell I call y'all. I would actually call you my family. So, this is the clutch side of the, and ignore this, this is once heat resistant tape to protect one of my things here, and I might just cut some of that shit away pull it off. And then just to tie it up. I'll fix that in a minute. But what you're trying to get to is this guy right here. There's two of them. There's one here, and that's your front cylinder fuel injector. You can see it going into the throttle. You can see it going into the cylinder. This is your rear fuel injector right here. This is the hose I was talking about that goes to the gas tank. And those are the two torque 30 screws. So you have to take these two connectors off. You push this button, and it pops off. Then you got to do the other one, which is a bit of a bitch if you got fat fingers. So I'm going to do that without the camera on. You know, well, not without the close-up on, at least. And then we'll work on getting the torques, torque 30s out and pulling the whole throttle body, you know, the whole fuel injector assembly out so we can replace that. Okay? How's that sound? Good. All right. I'm probably going to leave the light on because it makes it easier to see, quite honestly. And I just remembered I never being rude. Cheers. All right, now back to this guy, which is right there. That one off. Good. Now all I got to do is get to those two torque 30s. And I'll tell you right now, there's an oil line right here. It is a bitch to get around that oil line. I'm not lying to you. It is a pain in the butt. But we're going to try and make it happen. I think we can. And my tire wants to, you know, wants to roll over. Here's the deal. I'm not a professional mechanic, never claimed to be. I am someone that likes to tinker, work on my stuff. I guess is a good way to put it. Part of that's because it's the only way you really get to know your motorcycle is if you're the one that's wrenching on it, is a good way to put it. So I like to do some of my own work. But because I'm not a professional mechanic, I don't have a professional mechanic's tool chest. That means that when I am, this is a pain in the booty. Pain in the booty. Back. Like I said, I'm not a professional mechanic, and it's sometimes I have everything that I need. In this case, to get to this thing, the oil lines are right here, and those things don't move easily. The two bolts are right here that I'm trying to get to. The only way I'm going to be able to get them out is to use a 1/4 inch open end or, you know, socket side with the screw on it to get it out. That's the only way I'm going to be able to do it. Or at least to break it free. Then I can shove something straight down there like a, you know, like a nut driver and just undo it. But had to go to my neighbor's house who, if you ever watched the show Pinks, his car was actually on Pinks. He raced it there. So he has everything you can imagine. And usually if there's something I'm missing, he's got it. And he's cool enough and he lets me borrow it. So that's always good. And it doesn't hurt the fact that, well, his brother-in-law is the guy that sold me this motorcycle from Raging Bull Harley Davidson. Boom! And if you're watching, Boom, thanks for your support. Thanks for getting all this started. That's the best way I can put it. So, let's see if I can get this guy back in here. It's in here. Back. So, got it. It dropped down here right between the tappets, and I ended up having to pull the air breather off just to get the freaking thing I needed back to get the torque bit that I needed in order to be able to get this off of here. So, now, we're going to try again. All that for 2 freaking torque 30 screws. Jesus Christ. Still in the first bourbon though. So I'm thinking we're okay. Now we gotta get this shit out. And the way you do it is just to lift it up and pull it out. Pay attention to the way it comes off. This is what you're getting at right here. This one's, if you're looking at the bike from the clutch side, that's your rear cylinder, this is your front cylinder. This is the one we're going to be replacing, is this guy right here. So, I just got to replace it. These things are keyed, by the way, guys. So when you look at them, you can see that there's a couple of notches, and those notches fit with the notch in the assembly. So we're going to just slip this in. It goes in like that. Now it's together. So yeah, we're getting ready to put it back together. Because the hard part's done. All of that work just to do that one little part. Now we have to get this thing back in. There it is. Back together. Connect the electricals to it. Let me do that now. Well, you got it easily accessible. And then we'll put the screws back in and torque them down. That's the last part of this job before we put everything back together. To be careful about when you're cranking these guys down is the fact that that housing on top of the throttle body that holds your fuel injectors is plastic. So you don't want to end up breaking it, is my point. But yeah, so it's back on. All I'm going to do now is the reverse of everything I just did to put the bike back together. Once it's back together, I'll be back with you and you can hear me fire it up for the first time. Later. Alright, so it's been a minute since I was here, and well, it's been a minute here since I was talking to you. I'll put it that way. So, put them in, buttoned everything back up, and my neighbor who lent me the tool came over to see how shit was going, and so I was talking to him. And as soon as I fired it up, there was a big pool of gasoline underneath the engine because the front fuel injector didn't seat all the way when I pushed it into the fuel injector housing. So just keep that in mind. And if when you do this job yours leaks, chances are it's leaking from where it goes into the top, not where it goes into the cylinder. Because where it goes into the cylinder, there isn't a lot of gas flow going there. And when I say I had a puddle in about the course of maybe 45 seconds and a couple of engine revs, I had a puddle, a substantial puddle that was dripping down the motor from the cylinder. So just keep that in mind. If you see a fuel leak, chances are you're going to have to pull that thing back off and make sure that the fuel injector is seated properly in the housing. I did have it aligned correctly, I just didn't have it pushed in like just a freaking millimeter. I was off. So it's fixed now. I'm getting ready to button everything up and then I'll start it up for you. So stick around. good idea to get all the bolts started before you tighten anything. Kind of like with an IKEA puzzle, because this thing, the hole for this last one is not lining up. It ain't lining up easy, that's for damn sure. And as soon as I loosened everything, it lined up. So, if you ever wondered why people say, start everything but don't tighten them, now you know. It's because shit ain't gonna work. Not gonna line up. It's not gonna be where you expect it to be. It's, you know, yeah. So, again, like I said, this thing goes in at a freaking wonky angle, so don't try to put it in straight up and down, you'll strip it. Then you'll be going and buying a new one. That's not going to be fun for anybody. And if your wife's like mine, it's really not going to be fun for you when she's like, "What are you going to go buy a new part again?" But, hey, we're most motorcycle enthusiasts, ain't we? This goes back in, goes in like this, towards the tank. This part goes towards the seat. This part goes towards the tank. Really not that damn difficult. You kind of figure it out on your own. See how you got one side's longer than the other? The longer end. So this one is longer this way. This is the throttle side of the bike. The other one is longer the opposite direction. But yeah, there you go. All back together, all buttoned up. Just got to drop the seat back on it. Once that's done, fire it up. Let you guys hear it. And make sure I don't have gas leaking. Make sure that I'm done. And no, I never cleaned it today. I did clean the top of the engine. While I had the gas tank off, I did do that, but I'm gonna clean the rest of it probably tomorrow. Probably gonna do that tomorrow. Not gonna do it right now. Don't want to do it right now, basically. I'm hot. I'm tired. And I'm ready to go in and start editing this video for you guys. So, yeah, there you go. Now, for the moment everyone's been waiting on, the 1.5 bourbon job to replace the front fuel injector on this motorcycle. I'd say we're good to go. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something from this. Hope you get some usefulness out of it. Sorry if I rambled a little bit. And I mean, the important thing is I let you guys know about all the stuff that you would need to know in order to be able to do this job. And that's the best I can do for you. So like, subscribe, click the notification bell, share with your friends. Always ride safe.
Yeah, ready? 1, 2, 3, shoot. Ah.